Hi everyone, this is Keith from MotorPro South Africa, and we are here today at Russell Campbell Dirtbike out in Edenvale, South Africa, with the MotorPro suspension. So the reason why we've come here is one of the bikes need to be suspension to be serviced, and Russell is a pro. He is a multiple MX South African champion, along with Springbok and Protea colors, and a real suspension guru. In fact, he's one of the few people in South Africa that are certified to service the Oden's forks and rear suspension. Unfortunately, the MotorPro is not getting these babies today. But guys in South Africa, if you really need some suspension done, come through to Russell. And if you want the Olen's, which is really good, then you definitely want to come and talk to Russell. All right, so here's Russell. We have stripped out the front forks from the MotorPro, and we're just going to start with the strip down. So first thing that you need to do, Russ, is to remove the top cap.
First thing you do before you take the fork leg out the stanchions, use the spanner to undo the top cap.
Okay.
It eliminates having to clamping vices and all sorts of things if you don't have the right tools to do the job.
Perfect. Yeah, you don't want to mark any of the surfaces or crush any of the tubes in a vice. You know, us South Africans, we're pretty strong, and we don't always know our own strength.
Yeah. Once you've loosened it.
Sorry guys, while Russ is there, we are doing fork seal replacement, and we'll probably replace the oil as well. These needed a bit of service. They've got a good couple of hours out, so Russ is going to take the oil out now. Okay, obviously Russell's got a suspension room, so it's nice and clean, roofed and closed and all the rest of the stuff, as you can see. You know, when you typically work at the level that Russell works, you do need some really great working environment. And then, yes, we've got the Dragon. That's just a bit of energy for us. So that's going to keep us sort of going through this process. All right, Russ, the oil is out.
Because we've made basically the external bit of the oil. Now we need to loosen the bottom of the
foot
here to get that off in order to separate the fork.
Right. Russ, I think there's a grub screw there somewhere that just is pointed out.
Yeah, there's a grub screw there that's going to come out. If you don't take that, you're going to create big problems for yourself. You've got to heat this foot up quite hot because they've used Loctite. So if you don't heat it up, you're not going to get this off here.
Yeah. We would show you the South African way without it, but that's just will be a display of brute force strength, which is not what we need in a suspension room like this. All right, I'm going to just pause the video while we take that off. I'll show you just now how we do it, and we'll come back now. Thanks. All right, guys, just to confirm something. So we are still obviously under COVID lockdown, and face masks are required. So just to show you that although Russell's not wearing a face mask, we are social distancing. I've got my... Guys, so just a little punt for MotorPro. We've got the RR250, the RR300, which is not up on the sign, and the RR450, and they're all 4-strokes, and they're really great fun bikes to ride. Excellent value for money. So that's the last time we'll punt MotorPro. Okay guys, we're back, and Russ, what's the next step in stripping down these FastAce suspension?
We're going to take this grub screw out. That's
okay.
The one that we showed you earlier.
Right.
Very important not to lose it. So we'll put it out of the way. Then next step, we're going to take the Rebound Adjuster Nut out in order to take the foot off.
Perfect. Okay, we're just going to quickly put it in the clamp, and then we'll show you how to do that.
Okay, Keith, so now what we're going to do, use a 19 socket inside here to loosen the rebound adjuster.
Okay, so that's where you do your adjustment on, and that
set your rebound here.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, very important thing. Once you've got this nut out, there's a little plunger inside there. You don't want that plunger to come out if you're only doing fork seals and you're not servicing the internal. If that plunger comes out, you're going to lose a lot of oil, and means you've got to bleed the whole system again.
Cool. Okay, Russ. Yeah. So it's inner and outer chambers.
Yeah. Internal cartridge.
Okay.
Okay, that's loose. And okay, if you look inside here, Keith, you can see there's a little silver plunger inside there. That you don't want to come out.
Ah, that little pippy there.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Probably don't know what pippy means, but little plunger.
But it's a little plunger, yeah.
Next is we're going to heat up the toe, the foot, whatever you want to call it. We're going to clamp this. I don't have my soft tools here today, so we're going to do it sort of the African way, like if you're in the bush. And we'll heat it up and we'll crack this off and we'll carry on.
Cool.
Okay, this is the African way. We've used a bit of conveyor belt. It's a very soft rubber, so it can clamp on the stanchion without damaging it. These stanchions aren't very robust, but just got to work a bit gentle. Then we'll go the
Alright, now we're going to apply the heat. Obviously safety first and all the rest of the stuff. Don't burn your fingers or burn the building down that whatever you're working at. Alright, I'm going to pause the video. We're just going to heat it thoroughly and then we'll be back to show you how we twist it off.
Up and everything. Now you've got to just crack it. You've got to apply a bit of pressure. Make sure that it doesn't turn in the vise. And you've got your grub screw out. Don't forget that little puppy. When it's nice and hot, it comes off easily. If you don't heat it up, you're going to battle and you could cause yourself a little bit of damage to something, some threads or... Cool down, just take it off. You've got an O-ring here, you don't want to lose that O-ring. That's quite an important part. We'll get that off just now. So then what we've got to do is we've got to compress the outer, if you can see here, Keith.
Okay, yes.
We've got to basically compress this to get this that to come out there.
Ah, perfect.
So then what we've got to do now is you've got to hold, you get the spring down a little bit, hold the spacer for the guide for the spring. You're going to get a tool on here, which we use this little circular plier. That goes in there.
Russ, so this is a slightly different procedure to other forks, is it?
I haven't seen any other fork where you're going to take the
sleeve
off to separate the suspension.
Perfect, okay.
Okay, so now what you've got to do is you've got to loosen this off, hold that, get a decent pliers can go in there. They're not really tight from the factory, so you just get that loose. You can hold that there and then this will turn.
So it's actually that little sleeve inside here.
Yeah, that's the guide that we're trying to get off here.
Okay.
Which is slippery with the oil. Okay, so now you've got the spring guide off there, 17 spanner. You've got a place to locate the spanner in here. Then we've got to use the fancy little
the
tool,
specialized tool, yeah.
circular plier.
Right, guys, it doesn't come off as easy. We did crack it a little bit earlier, so you might battle a bit, but you can get it off.
You've released there, take this off, get that one side to be clean. This is the little pin I was talking about. If you let that come out, the oil's going to gush out and you're going to bleed the internal. Next you can slide the spring out. This one has been a little bit modified before because we've got a different spring in there with the spacer to take up the space of the stock spring.
Alright, let me just show you guys what the stock spring looks like and the length of it, and you'll see why we had to use that spacer. They are softer springs, but we're going back with the softer standard spring. As you can see the difference there, and that was the spacer. So if you want to use aftermarket springs, you can certainly do that and then just use that as a spacer, and that will work perfectly.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pop the dust cover off. Little thin splash screwdriver between the housing and the seal. Move that over. Little circlip underneath here. You pop that out. So we've used the tool to loosen the top. Now we can remove the internal cartridge.
And Russ, that's no tension, it'll just pop out, eh?
No, it'll just slide out.
Right, and be careful of the little pippy.
That little plunger doesn't come out. The spring's out. So the spring would sit up here, take up all the play there, and then the rest we've seen where we've taken it apart.
Cool.
So this can be cleaned. If you want to do a full service, you would remove that plunger out of there, take the insert out of here, clean it out, and there are certain levels that you use on the internals and the externals, which we'll brief you on that later.
On the oil. Yeah, Russ, and sorry, that's where the shim stack is as well, is it?
The shim stack sits inside. Yeah.
Right, so if you want to play with the shim stack, we are doing some testing on that. Yeah, so that's where the shim stack is. You can either add or remove. We're probably going to remove, but we'll maybe do that in a later feature and just tell you what we got the suspension to perform like.
Okay, so we've taken the dust seal out, circlip off. Now we're going to separate you've got to give it, you can hear the change of tone when it's starting to come loose.
So it's almost like a slide hammer.
Basically, almost like a slide hammer. Then you've got your top piston, the inner piston, washer plate, and then your main seal. Okay, this, you've got to take this off, slide this off.
What's that you pointed to the top, Russ?
This is your piston on the top of the internal shaft, which when it comes in, this has got Teflon coating on the outside. So this is a guide which goes inside this shaft here.
Okay.
And this has got the Teflon coating in the inside of the piston there, which is the guide for this part for the sliding on here, so it doesn't damage the material.
Cool. So it's a bit of a slip and slide.
A bit of a slip and slide.
Okay, so we're back. We've just cleaned up all the parts. In respect of our environment, we've used environmentally friendly parts cleaner and liquid inside. We've got it helps.
Okay, so now what we got? We've got a little part number on here, ARX11RC. That tells you the model of the bike. In this case, we would use a NOC 47mm seal, which is readily available from most of your suspension stores.
Perfect.
So our next step is to do an inspection on the stanchion to see what's caused the seal to leak. We've had one previous, if you hone in there, you can zoom in there, you can see it's been repaired. And then just for if you use like a 8,000 grit water paper, just to give it to make sure that any little sharp edges that you can't pick up by the eye, just a little light rub on it.
All right, and for most of you guys that are not married, it's probably quite familiar, but don't try this at home.
So then you do an inspection, you have a decent light, you can see there's no little pit marks, nothing sharp enough to damage the lip of the seal, and then we can carry on. So now you take the piston, which we explained earlier, that's the guide for inside there. Then we slide the internal one with the Teflon there.
All right, Russ, and this is the order, that we need to put it in. So it's
the outer guard, inner guard, or piston, whatever you want to call it. The washer for when you separate the two. This washer helps break the main seal out of the housing. And then we've spoiled the forks. We've used an Olin's lube to lube up the seals. And so you must lube the seals now so you don't have stiction. So what we do is we use the little bullet on there.
Sorry, Russ, is stiction the same as friction?
Not really the same, but
the less friction, the better.
The less stiction and friction, the better. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So then we use a bullet, and then you got to slide the seal over that.
Oh wait, sorry, I think I missed that, Russ. Just show the guys that tool that you stopped from tearing the seals. Sorry, what?
So you could, if you haven't got, you could use insulation tape around here to build up so that the seal doesn't get damaged, but we use
that special tool.
This tool, yeah.
And that's made in South Africa, hey?
Yep.
Okay.
Locals lacquer.
Yeah, daar say.
So then you got the seal, and you got to be careful which way you put the seal, because people normally come from the top down, but now we're going from the bottom up, so the seal's got to go in the right way.
Ooh, bottom up sounds good.
Bottoms up, and then that goes in there, and then followed by your well-lubed dust seal.
Aha, good. Yeah, friction.
Stiction is the key of suspension. And then we can carry on. So that's your order. You got your outer, your inner, your washer, the main seal, dust seal, and your circlip.
Okay, Russ, sorry, I just wanted to find out the seal that we're using.
It's the NOC 47mm seal.
Okay, pretty standard across most outlets.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Quite common on the CRs, the 47mm CRs. So you can get it from a Honda shop if you can't get it anywhere else.
Okay, perfect.
So then we can carry on now.
Cool.
Next move is now to install the bottom stanchion and get the seals in. So the easiest is to put that in there. That slides in there. Keep the seal separate from the piston.
And Russ, what is...
Drive the bush in. You can hear it's just solid. So now it's in firm. You can see it's gone down deep in the seal driver. And then we can take the main seal, check it it's the right way around. So that's the bottom, facing the bottom, that's right.
Now, Russ, is it true that the bigger the driver, the better the result?
I couldn't tell you that.
Okay. But these are obviously 47mm drivers. You get
These
different...
47mm. It's actually a 48, but you can use on the 47.
Okay. But you also get the different sizes for other models, right?
Yeah. You
Perfect.
get right down from a 35 or whatever up to 56.
Right, now tell me, has the driver now penetrated it deep enough into the socket?
It's gone right in. So
nice.
You can see, you can check there's a space for the circlip to go into. You can pop the circlip in. Help with a little screwdriver. That's in, you can clip in, and then you can close the dust seal up. And that is ready to go.
And it's nice and friction free, or as friction free as what we can get it.
As loose as you're going to get it. So it's nice and smooth, it's nice smooth action.
Perfect.
Okay, so we got to install the spring in the internal of the cartridge. Make sure that little plunger is still there, it hasn't come out, so you haven't lost the oil out the inside of the cartridge. So you've got to put the closed progressive little springs at the top in order to be able to work through here with your little piston over there. Else, if you put this at the bottom, it makes more sense because then the center of gravity is lower, but then you can't work
with that slide spacer.
Spacer.
Perfect.
So that slides in there like that, and that'll slide into the internal there. We'll just close it up temporarily here because we've got to still put the external oil in there, so we just close it up temporarily there, and then we can come back here. We can clamp the fork leg in here. And then we need to get we've got the O-rings lubed up, so they just don't go hard when they have a time in it, and it's easier to install because this is quite a tight fit into there. And then we got to put this, goes into there like that.
So Russ, really the suspension is about tightness, close tolerance, less friction, lots of lube during assembly to stop nicks and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously cleanliness. We need to keep it clean.
Yeah. So that's what's nice. We work with the table like this, so there's no mess around on the floor. And
your room is kind of like shut off from the rest of the workshop, which you can kind of like see behind Russell there. And there's no dust and gump coming from that or the shop. Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of Loctite on here. Just a drop, you don't need too much.
Where's here, Russ? On the inside, so that's
Inside,
going to screw onto the
onto the bottom of the
cartridge.
yeah.
Okay. What strength Loctite is that, Russ? Just hold it up.
Just a regular Loctite. You don't have to. It's a 6 to 8 grade.
Okay, perfect.
Nothing too fancy. So that's got to go onto there.
Okay, you're getting it through. Oh.
Okay, so now just take your 17 spanner, slide on the bottom here, and you can wind the.
And draai hom, maat, draai hom.
What does that mean?
Draai hom means turn him. And remember, guys, it's lefty loosey, righty tighty.
Remember when you put this together, you got this little washer here, just like a little shim to stop the spring creating damage on the head here. So that's quite important. Then once you got that there, you can take the little circular tool.
Okay, let me come around this side.
And you can nip it up properly.
Right. So Russ, it's not like the normal torque wrench or the torque sort of setting where you tighten it until it strips and then back it out half a turn.
No, I doubt you'll find any torque settings for it anyway.
Ah, okay.
So
Okay,
now
cool.
the next move is a bit of more spoil it with the Olin's lube, with assembly lube, just to help it seat back
Ease it.
here. Yeah. So then this will go back into there like that. Bit of lube, then you can't get any damage on the, can't chop the O-ring. And that's nice and firm. And then we can continue. A little bit of Loctite on here. This one you can be a little bit more
Liberal.
yeah, likes a bit of Loctite. It's important because if this comes off when you're going through a rocky section or wherever you're riding, the wheel falls off in the air, you're not going to smile after that.
No, definitely not. And remember, guys, safety first. Safety first. So Russ, while are you just doing that, what's this little fancy machine here at the back?
That's a vacuum pump. So when you're doing shocks and the Olin's forks, you can suck all the, you create a negative pressure, so you suck all the air out and you release oil into the system, making sure you got no air in the system, so then your oil can't aerate when it's going through the shim sticks.
Awesome, thanks, man. That it was just caught my eye there, that little piece of machinery.
So getting back to the fork leg, back to nice conveyor belt, nice and secure, make it nice and firm, and then where did we put that bar? Here we go. We got this bar again.
Okay, you bopper it up now, nice and tight.
Yep. Go. Tight, tight, tight.
Nice, nice, nice.
And then you don't forget the little grub screw, which is just goes back into here, just a safety device. So if that Loctite does fail for whatever reason, you've got a grub screw which will stop the
separation.
You'll have oil coming out of the bottom before it separates completely.
Uh-huh. So that's like a good warning sign.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the separation process, we don't use any mediation or anything like that. We can just part our ways quite easily, yes?
Yeah, that's right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the outer oil level, which is there's your readings and your oils if you want.
Okay, let me just get a close up on that. So
that is for the outer, which is this part that where the seal holder is. That's the outer. In here's the inner. One day we'll get and show you how to pull this apart and put it back together.
okay,
So we're going to put 250 mils of our 5-weight Puterline racing suspension oil.
right. So the outer, just to confirm, 250 mils. The inner 160, and it's from 2.5 to 5 weight fork oil.
And you can vary on that 250 mils. If you find the forks a little bit hard, you could probably go down to 200. If they find them too soft, you can go probably up to about 320.
Okay, awesome. And that's without changing springs.
Yeah.
And then if it's still not okay, then you can look at different spring rates. Moi.
Okay, so now the oil's in. We can do our last final touch, which is.
And Russ, sorry, the top cap you've just hand tightened for the time being.
For now, yeah. But we don't have to make it tight. We can use the right spanner for the right job, and it's just too firm. When you've got the bike and it forks in the triple clamps, those triple clamps will hold it tight.
Okay, perfect.
So now for our last final touch, we're going to use the wrench in this. This has all been cleaned up. So what you got here, you got your adjuster here. When you turn this goes down and pushes on the little plunger, which I've been telling you about.
Yeah, Russ, there's another pippy inside there that actually turns in and out, is it?
That's it there.
That's the little thing.
That presses directly onto that little plunger there, which controls the flow of oil through your valves.
Awesome.
Make sure the vise is tight so it can't slip out. As I said earlier, I hadn't found any torque settings for these things, but if you've got a feel for spanners, I'm sure you won't have a problem getting it to the right tension.
Awesome.
And I wouldn't advise putting Loctite on that nut because it's aluminium on aluminium, and if you know aluminium, you don't use too much Loctite with that.
Okay.
So that is firm.
Okay.
And it's good to go.
Cool. Russell, just flex your biceps so we can just see what type of torque you're using.
So there we go, guys. That's one fork, new seals cleaned up inside, internal, external, the right oil level. As I say, you can vary the oil levels. And if you're local and you need a hand, you're welcome to give me a call.
Russ, just from my side, thank you so much for taking the time to put this instructional video together. Certainly the MotoPro guys would have learned something, and hopefully some of our colleagues with other brands. The processes for the other types of forks are slightly different. It's probably easier, but as you can see, it's pretty easy. Take your time, follow the instructions, keep it clean, and keep it safe. Thanks.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.